Welcome, this is Richard with 71 Innovation. Please keep in mind that this video is for entertainment purposes only. A while ago I released a video that was giving some details about this particular project. The project was to create a simple fixture that would allow the average user to be able to inspect some of the fire control components in the M1903 family of rifles. Oftentimes these parts can be worn out or have damage that is difficult to see, so this fixture helps identify those and would allow you to make good choices about part replacement or sending it off to a competent gunsmith to do some work on those parts. In this series of videos, I'm going to do some very short detailed sections about each one of the steps on each one of the surfaces of these two components. But the first video is going to focus in on a few of the tools that you'll need to do that. Let's get into it. Okay, let's start off with the fixture itself. To begin with, it is 3D printed material. The 3D printing process allows me to create very complex geometry and control a lot of the really important features. It allows me to produce a small quantity of a complex item very affordably. Producing this part out of steel would be absurdly expensive. But just to do a quick overview. On the bottom surface here, you'll see threaded inserts that are pushed into plastic, and each one of those inserts houses a 632 set screw that allows the tool to be leveled out perfectly. So when it's sitting on a flat surface, there's absolutely no wobble. That is set right off the bat, but that is adjustable, and there might be some opportunities to use that to your advantage in some of the later videos. On the top, similar fixture here with threaded inserts and set screws, which will allow you to control some of the geometry on the firing pin assembly. And then in a few places on the side, you'll see more inserts that allow you to perfectly control the gap that centers the sear into the fixture. And looking down from the top, there is a pin that runs across that gap, and that allows a pivot point as you work on the nose of the sear. Overall, there's not much more to look at here other than the hole that goes all the way through for the firing pin assembly and the corresponding slot that allows that firing pin to be located here and held perfectly square. From there, we'll jump into some of the accessories. My intent was to keep the tool and the process as simple and affordable as possible. Again, that plays into the fixture itself being 3D printed, but I also wanted to set it up to use items that typical user might already have or can easily obtain locally, even in this day and age when there aren't a lot of things available in stores. I think most everything here that is absolutely necessary to use, you can find in your local town. So let's start off with really the only tool that's needed is this 16th inch Allen wrench, and that can be used for making adjustments on these set screws if it would be necessary. The next piece is simply emery paper. In this case, it's 1500 wet dry, and so it's very, very fine, and one sheet of it is very inexpensive, and you can cut it up to a bunch of these little pieces to use. It's useful to have a piece of very flat steel. In this case, it is 1/8 inch thick cold rolled steel. This one's about 6 inches long, 1/8 inch thick. And then a little piece of key stock. This is 5/16 square key. Again, local hardware stores should have this. You could go down as far as 1/4 and probably up as far as 3/8. Good black ink marker, permanent, works very well. And then really the best thing is to have a very hard and flat surface. This happens to be a piece of Corian countertop, but a piece of tempered glass that's thick or a piece of steel, granite, anything that's hard and flat will work. If you happen to have a little bit deeper tool chest than the average person, you might be able to substitute some higher end components. In this case, this is a 800 grit 1/4 inch square stone. Similar 800 grit rectangular stone. This is 1/8 inch thick, and I think this one's a 1/2 inch wide. Basically, this would mimic the flat bar in the use, and I'll demonstrate that in the future videos. Correspondingly, this square stone will be able to take the place of the key stock here that you would use in conjunction with the sandpaper. I'll show those in the future videos. So as it stands, that's really all that's needed to get started with this. And again, the intent is to be able to inspect these components, determine more easily if there's any wear or concern areas, and allow you to make some good choices about part replacement or handing this off to a competent gunsmith. Okay, we'll see you in the next episode.